Hey guys, welcome to Monday Morning Theology. This past Sunday at White Oak, the sermon was all about Abraham, and we looked at his entire story from the moment that God called him all the way until his death. And we looked at how his story led into the entire rest of the Bible, and it led all the way up to Christ, and how everything that God promised to Abraham, all of the flourishing, all of the innumerable offspring, how it all was ultimately fulfilled in Christ. Because through Christ, all of the families of the earth were blessed. And we looked at Abraham's story in the context of God's entire plan to redeem the world back to himself. You know, a lot of times people don't understand why the Old Testament is important. They think that the New Testament is all that matters because our faith is centered on Christ. And to a certain extent, I understand that because our faith is Christocentric. Our faith is completely focused on Christ. But if there's one thing that I hope that you took away from this past Sunday, it's that the Old Testament gives context for the New Testament. Everything that Jesus did, his family, his background, everything that was part of his history is contained in the Old Testament. And it adds such a depth to his life's work, to his sacrifice, to his resurrection, everything that Jesus did in his life and death. It finds its context in the Old Testament. And so what I want you to do this week is at least one night, I want you to wait till it's dark and then go outside, go into your backyard, look up at the sky, and imagine you're looking at the thousands of stars that Abraham would have looked at as he talked with God. And if you're having a hard time doing that, close your eyes, do whatever it takes. But as you're standing there, I want you to think about what it's like with Abraham as he was talking with God and listening to Abraham receive all of those promises, that everything that God was going to do through him, and how Abraham was receiving the beginning of the work of redeeming all of the world. And I want you to think about how we are the offspring that God promised to Abraham. And then I want you to think about Christ and how when Christ came, he fulfilled the work that God started in Abraham to redeem humanity back to him. And I want you to sit there and let all of that soak in until it humbles you into a state of childlike wonder and childlike awe as you think and reflect on the thousands of years of history that goes behind you, everything that led up to your salvation and your redemption and your personal reconciliation with Christ. I truly believe that if you do this, you will walk out of that experience and see the world in an entirely different light. White Oak, I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you this next Sunday.